Most commonly, sciatica is stemming from the low back. So first off, if you have low back pain and you have sciatica, just assume that your low back is part of the problem. If you take your spine through any movements and it exacerbates, makes worse, or alleviates any of your symptoms, you know your spine is involved. So if you lean to the sides, if you bend forward, lean back, twist, say lean back and lean to the side, and any of that causes any of your sciatica symptoms, we know your spine's involved. If I'm in standing and I start to notice that I have some sciatica symptoms, in particular for a prolonged period of time, there's a good chance that the low back is involved. All right, so in standing, we typically are more extended, and often we overextend in standing, either from tight hip flexors or flexed upper thoracic spine, potentially weak abdominals, maybe bad habits. But if I stand for a prolonged period of time and I get some sciatica, good chance it's coming from my low back. In contrast, if I sit for a prolonged period of time and I get sciatica, my back is typically overflexed. All right, often we slouch when we sit, and I might be getting a little bit of forward slippage from above. And if I'm sitting for a long time and I get sciatica, good chances coming from my low back. Various position changes or movements can cause sciatica. So if I'm standing up and I'm not doing it the right way, I might overarch my back like I'm doing right now. That leads to sciatica, probably coming from the low back. If I lift my leg up in the air and I go through hip flexion and that causes a jolt down my leg, because my iliopsoas comes from my hip region and ties directly into my back, if I don't have the core stability to check it, that force, and it causes some sciatica symptoms, good chance it's coming from the low back. If I take that concept a little bit further, and I'm on my low back here, and I go through a position change where I engage the front of my hip, like sitting up or lifting up my leg or lifting up both legs to do this or whatever, and that causes a jolt of pain down my leg, low back is likely involved. If I spend a prolonged period of time on my low back with my legs straight and I start to get some numbness or tingling over time, with my legs extended like this, my low back is a little bit more arched, there's a good chance it's coming from my low back. All right? And that can be held true for a lot of things. If I'm in a prolonged position of sitting, standing, walking, takes time, good chance it's coming from my low back. Really, the best way to determine how much your lower extremities might be involved and if you have some form of myofascial restriction is to do the palpation test, all right? But if you do have low back pain or you have pain with position changes, there's a strong likelihood it's coming from your low back.